The Galactic Empire prided itself on its unshakable dominance. For over 5 centuries, no rival fleet had dared challenge its iron grip on the stars. Every rebellion was crushed, every uprising snuffed out before it could spark. The Imperial Senate boasted that their fleet was the most powerful force the galaxy had ever known. But power invites complacency, and complacency blinds even the mightiest of empires. It began at the edge of Imperial space, Sector N-47, a quiet border filled with mining colonies and little else. Patrol ships reported strange readings, a massive object drifting near the ruins of an abandoned star system. At first, Imperial Command dismissed it as debris, another forgotten relic from the galaxy's countless wars. But the object wasn't debris. It was a ship, not just any ship, one unlike anything in the Empire's vast catalogs. Its hull was angular, scarred with age, yet intact. Its sheer size dwarfed Imperial dreadnoughts, and the strange alloy it was built from reflected scanners in ways their systems couldn't interpret. When the first patrol approached, their reports came in fractured bursts of static. The last words from the captain were burned into the archives. By the stars, it looks human. Human. That word alone sent a ripple of unease through Imperial High Command. Humanity was supposed to be extinct. Thousands of years ago, the Empire's historians recorded humanity's downfall. Primitive creatures who burned too brightly and destroyed themselves before ever mastering the stars. The official doctrine was clear. Humanity was a footnote. In galactic history, irrelevant and forgotten. But as the mysterious ship stirred, the Empire's complacency cracked. The vessel powered on. Its ancient engines roared to life with an energy signature no Imperial scientist could decipher. When it moved with the grace of a predator long asleep, now awakened and hungry. The Empire sent its first fleet, 30 ships. Enough to overwhelm any border skirmish. They approached cautiously, hailing the relic, demanding identification. The ship gave no reply. Then, in a single heartbeat, it opened fire. There was no battle, only annihilation. The Imperial fleet vanished in flashes of light, their shields shredded as though made of paper, their hulls carved apart by weapons too advanced to understand. When the wreckage cleared, nothing remained but silence. Panic took root. Admirals scrambled for answers. Scientists tore through ancient records, and whispers spread across the Empire's systems. Could it truly be human? If so, how had they survived? And worse, how had they built something so powerful? The Emperor himself convened the High Council. The hollow screens flickered with images of the vessel, long, black, scarred by age, but pulsing, with terrible strength. Its name, etched faintly along the side in letters no alien tongue could mistake, was revealed. Aegis Aeternum. The name alone silenced the council chamber. For deep in the archives, buried beneath centuries of propaganda, there were forbidden legends. Stories of humanity's final war, not a war of desperation, but of defiance. According to those myths, humans had built warships unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Weapons not to conquer, but to end wars entirely. And then they vanished. No one knew how or why. Some claimed humans destroyed themselves. Others whispered they had gone into hiding, retreating to places no one could follow. The Empire had dismissed it all as fantasy. Now, faced with the Aegis Aeternum, they could no longer deny the truth. The Empire sent more fleets, hundreds of ships this time. Entire armadas converged on the border system, determined to erase the relic before panic spread further. The battle that followed was etched forever into the annals of galactic history. Thousands of Imperial ships swarmed like locusts surrounding the lone human warship. They fired everything: plasma torpedoes, ion cannons, kinetic rail slugs that could pierce planets. The void lit up with fire and fury. The Aegis Eternum endured, its shields drank in the energy, its armor shrugged off impacts that should have split moons. Then it struck back. With a single broadside, it tore through the heart of the Imperial formation. Entire squadrons ceased to exist, their destruction so absolute that even their distress signals were snuffed out mid-transmission. The surviving Imperial crews screamed into the comms. "It's not a ship, it's a nightmare." "That can't be human technology. We're fighting a ghost." But the ghost did not relent. In 3 hours, the largest Imperial fleet in 2 centuries was reduced to wreckage and silence. The Aegis Eternum emerged from the battlefield untouched, its weapons still glowing, its engines burning like the heart of a star, and then it vanished into hyperspace. The Empire's panic turned into terror. Where would it strike next? What if there were more of them? For every system under Imperial control, whispers spread like wildfire. The humans have returned. Merchants refused to travel. Colonies rioted. Even soldiers began to question the stories they had been told since childhood. If humanity was truly extinct, then what was this ship? And if it wasn't extinct, what had it been doing all this time, hiding in the dark? The Empire scrambled for answers, but the Aegis Eternum gave them none. It appeared without warning across their territories, striking shipyards, dismantling research stations, obliterating slave camps in minutes before vanishing once again. To some, it was vengeance. To others, it was justice. And to the Empire, it was the beginning of collapse. Every time the ship appeared, fleets panicked before battle even began. Entire systems surrendered without a fight, believing the humans had returned in force. But the truth was more chilling. No one knew if there was a fleet. For all the galaxy could tell, it was just one ship, one relic, one ghost of humanity's past, now haunting the galaxy's present. Yet even one was enough. Because if one human warship could cripple an empire, what would happen if there were more? The Emperor himself, once so proud and unshakable, was seen pacing in desperation, repeating the same words to his counselors over and over again. "That can't be a human warship. It can't be." But deep down, he knew the truth. It was, and it was only the beginning. The Empire's fleets ruled unchallenged across the stars. They spread like a tide of steel and fire, crushing worlds, enslaving species, and rewriting history to glorify themselves. To most of the galaxy, resistance was suicide. To defy the Empire was to be erased. But every empire forgets one truth. The stars remember. It happened on the edge of the Veil Nebula. Imperial scouts patrolling the trade routes detected an unidentified vessel drifting in the void. At first glance, it was unremarkable, a silhouette against the nebula's pale glow. But when the scanners sharpened, the crews aboard the scouts felt their blood run cold. The hull design was unlike any modern construction, jagged, practical, built for war rather than beauty. Its surface bore scars centuries old, yet its structure was intact, unyielding. Most damning of all were the markings etched into the plating, visible even after eons. English letters, human script. The commander of the patrol muttered the word in disbelief. Human. That single word carried across the fleet like a curse. Humanity was not supposed to exist anymore. According to Imperial records, they had been broken, scattered, exiled beyond the galactic core for their defiance. A minor race, doomed to fade away into myth. No navy, no colonies, no future. And yet, here was a warship. The Empire tried to dismiss it at first. Perhaps it was an abandoned relic, drifting from some forgotten war. But when the vessel powered up, everything changed. Its engines burned with energy unlike anything in Imperial databases. Its weapons glowed with a power older than the Empire itself. And at its helm, a lone captain's voice cut through the silence of the void. "This is Captain Darius Kane of the Terran warship Resolute. To any who hear me, humanity endures." The Empire panicked. Every admiral, every strategist, every senator had been taught that humanity was finished. Their propaganda demanded it. Their control depended on it. But this lone voice, calm and unbroken, shattered the illusion. The Resolute did not wait for them to respond. It struck. The patrol fleet was annihilated in seconds. The warship moved like a predator. Its weapons were precise, devastating, but never wasteful. Imperial ships tried to flee, but their comms were jammed. Their distress signals cut off mid-transmission. By the time reinforcements arrived, only wreckage remained, scattered like ashes across the nebula. At the center of it all, the Resolute drifted calmly, its captain watching with eyes hardened by generations of exile. Darius Kane had been raised in the shadows of forgotten worlds. His people had lived in silence for centuries, driven into hiding when the Empire declared them broken. But in secret, humanity had rebuilt. They remembered every betrayal, every cruelty, every insult, and they had forged their vengeance not in numbers, but in steel, ships like the Resolute, designed to fight against impossible odds. Now Darius had chosen his moment. He would remind the galaxy that humanity was not extinct. They were returning. The Empire, blinded by arrogance, sent a fleet to crush him, 50 warships, a show of strength. They expected to overwhelm him with sheer numbers. Instead, they met a storm. The Resolute emerged from hyperspace directly into their formation, tearing their ships apart before they could react. Darius fought not like an admiral bound by doctrine, but like a wolf surrounded by prey. He anticipated their moves, twisted their formations against them, used their pride as a weapon. One Imperial captain, shaken to his core, screamed over comms, "This is impossible! No human should fight like this!" But humans had always fought like this. That was what terrified the Empire most. The battle ended with the Imperial fleet in ruins. Survivors limped back to report the unthinkable. A single human warship, commanded by a single captain, had destroyed them all. Word spread like wildfire. Across mining colonies, across trading worlds, whispers grew. The humans are back. Some laughed, dismissing it as propaganda, but others believed. And when the Resolute struck again, liberating a slave convoy, destroying an orbital fortress, the whispers became truth. The Empire began to fracture. Soldiers hesitated before battle. Colonists wondered if they had chosen the wrong masters. Entire systems questioned their loyalty. The idea of humanity's return was more dangerous than the warship itself. It was a spark in dry kindling, threatening to ignite rebellion across the stars. Admirals demanded reinforcements, but no matter how many fleets they dispatched, the outcome was always the same. The Resolute struck swiftly, disappeared into hyperspace, and reappeared where least expected. Every encounter ended with Imperial wreckage floating in silence, and the calm voice of Captain Kane broadcasting a message to all who would hear. The Empire calls us extinct, but humanity endures, and we are not afraid. The Emperor himself grew restless. His advisors tried to soothe him, claiming it was a lone relic, a desperate remnant that would soon burn out. But in the quiet of his chambers, the Emperor whispered the truth none dared admit. If one human ship could do this, what if there were more? The galaxy trembled. For the first time in centuries, the Empire knew fear. Not of an armada, not of an invasion, but of one man, one human captain, with one warship, daring to challenge an empire. And deep in the void, aboard the Resolute, Darius Kane sat at his command chair, staring at the stars. He knew the fight ahead would be impossible. He knew the Empire would stop at nothing to destroy him, but he also knew something else, something the Empire could never understand. Humans did not surrender. Humans did not forget. Humans did not die quietly. As the Resolute prepared to jump, once more into enemy territory, Kane spoke softly, not just to his crew, but to the galaxy itself. They think I am alone. They think this ship is the last of my kind. Let them believe it. For every second they fear me, humanity grows stronger. For every system they doubt, another remembers who we were. The galaxy has forgotten humanity. But I will make them remember. Storry. Engines roared, the stars stretched into lines of light, and the Resolute vanished into hyperspace. Behind it, the Empire was left trembling, haunted by a truth it could no longer deny. Humanity had returned, and they had chosen war. For as long as anyone could remember, the Galactic Empire had told the same story. Humans were extinct. It was written in every textbook, recited in every academy, reinforced in every propaganda broadcast. Humans had once existed, yes, but they were violent, unstable, and self-destructive. According to Imperial historians, they burned themselves out before they ever truly entered the galactic stage. A warning from the past. Nothing more. The myth served its purpose well. It made citizens feel safe, convinced that no rival from history could ever rise again. It kept rebellious species quiet. After all, if even humans had been erased, what chance did anyone else have against the Empire? But lies are fragile things. All it takes is one truth to shatter them. It began in the cold reaches of the Orpheon, Expanse. A massive vessel appeared from hyperspace, silent, scarred, ancient. Imperial traffic control stations locked onto it at once, confused by its lack of codes. The silhouette was strange, angular, almost crude compared to the elegant curves of Imperial ships. At first, commanders dismissed it as a derelict. Yet when they scanned deeper, unease spread through the control rooms. The hull bore markings their translation software stumbled over. Markings written not in glyphs or runes, but in letters. Terran Standard. Human script. The Empire's first. Reaction was denial. Official broadcasts declared it a fabrication, a trick by pirates, a foreign-built fake meant to stir panic. It can't be a human warship, the Senate insisted. Humanity was extinct. Everyone knew that, but then the vessel moved. Its engines came alive with a thunder that rattled sensors across the system. Its shields pulsed with a spectrum no Imperial weapon had ever recorded. And when the Empire sent a fleet of destroyers to intercept, the truth revealed itself in fire. The destroyers surrounded the ship, demanding surrender. The warship did not reply. Instead, it unleashed a barrage that cut the Imperial formation apart in seconds. Beams of energy ripped through armor. Missiles outpaced defenses, and kinetic slugs struck with the force of meteors. The Imperial fleet, a 100 ships strong, was reduced to drifting wreckage before they could even transmit a full distress signal. The galaxy froze. Citizens who had grown up mocking humanity as weak and long dead now whispered in fear. Soldiers who had been taught that humans were nothing but a cautionary tale now hesitated at their posts. Could it be true? Could the dead race have returned? The Empire doubled down on lies. They declared the warship a fraud, a construct built by dissidents to inspire rebellion. They broadcast speeches, insisting over and over, "This is not a human ship. Humanity no longer exists." But the galaxy had seen the battle footage. They had watched the impossible unfold, the way one ship moved like a predator through hundreds, the way it fought with brutal efficiency unlike any other species. And the more the Empire denied it, the more the people believed the opposite. Soon, the warship struck again. This time, it appeared over the slave world of Kelros Prime, the planet's skies filled with Imperial gunships, ready to crush any threat. But the human vessel descended like a shadow, its weapons targeting the orbital defense grid. In a single pass, the guns fell silent, their wreckage raining down like meteors. Then the warship broadcast a message, not to the Empire, but to the slaves below. The Empire told you humanity was extinct. They lied. We remember. We endure. You are not alone. Kelros erupted in revolt. The sight of the warship above their skies gave the oppressed the courage they had long buried. The planet fell in hours, not to imperial control, but to rebellion, and, across the galaxy, the whisper grew louder. The humans have returned. Imperial panic turned into obsession. Fleets were redirected, resources drained, all in an attempt to find and destroy the rogue ship. Yet every time they closed in, the warship vanished into hyperspace, only to reappear elsewhere, hitting supply lines, dismantling shipyards, toppling garrisons. The propaganda collapsed. Citizens no longer trusted the Senate's words. If the Empire had lied about humanity's extinction, what else had they lied about? Entire sectors began to question their allegiance. Some secretly aided the mysterious warship, offering fuel, intelligence, and sanctuary. Still, no one knew for certain what the ship truly was. Some said it was a ghost from the past, an ancient vessel awakened by accident. Others claimed it was the vanguard of a hidden human fleet waiting in the void. And some whispered a far more dangerous idea that it was not merely a ship, but the beginning of humanity's return to claim the galaxy. The Emperor himself grew restless. His nights were filled with paranoia, pacing before hollow screens, showing the battles again and again. He snarled at his admirals, demanding victory, demanding certainty. But none could give it. Even the bravest officers, when faced with the ship, faltered because deep down they all knew the truth. The Empire had built its power on a lie, and the lie had come undone. For every planet that saw the warship, for every fleet it destroyed, for every message it broadcast, the people remembered what the Empire had tried to erase. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was not a myth. They had survived in the dark. They had endured exile. And now they had returned with fire. The Empire panicked because it could not accept the truth. It had to be a trick. It had to be impossible. Because if it wasn't, if it truly was a human warship, then everything they believed about their strength, their history, their destiny was a lie. And in the silence of the void, the warship prepared for its next strike. Its hull bore the scars of countless battles, its engines roared with ancient power, and its captain stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the stars. He did not care for the Empire's lies. He did not care for their fear. He cared only for one thing, making the galaxy remember the name it had been forced to forget, humanity. And with each system that fell into chaos, with each fleet that burned, the galaxy remembered a little more.